Welcome to BibleTech401, Lesson 3 on Raycast, the top 25 things I do on my Mac in Raycast. These have a somewhat, smaller, more attenuated connection to Bible study than some of the rest of the videos here, but I'm talking about tech tools that enable me to do the kind of work that I do. And if you're nerdy enough to want to watch this course at all, then this video is going to be interesting to you. What I'm going to try to do is just rattle off those 25 things that I do, show most, if not all of them, but expect you to be able to figure out, okay, what the goal here is not for you to figure out exactly how to set up all these things, but to be aware that you can set them up in Raycast and presumably in Windows equivalents like Flow Launcher, which I cannot show you because I don't even have a Windows computer. The one that I have, I'm running on a virtual machine and isn't connected to the internet yet. Anyway, I'm going to show you these top 25 things, and it's up to you to kind of track down how to do them in Raycast on your own. Okay, let's get started. Number one, I've already mentioned, and I'm going to decrease my face big time so you can see this. I'm going to move Raycast down here so you can see Raycast as I work on it. I already showed you that if I set up scripts in Raycast, I can type OESV John 1:1, and then that opens up automatically in Raycast. That's awesome. I'll let that be number one. I can also search the ESV with E space and then whatever reference I want to type in, and there it is. And with the actions, Command K, I can copy styled text, paste styled text, copy plain text, paste plain text, copy reference, etc. Most often, though, I'm just using this to check. I suppose I copy the text often enough too. If I just hit enter, it's on my clipboard and I'm able to paste it into any app. That's number two. That's an extension. Number three, I can launch super important apps with one hand. Command F1 happens to be Obsidian, which I'll talk about in a future episode, a future lesson in this course. Command F2 is Raycast Notes. I'm not going to show you that because it's got secret stuff on it. That's tip number three. All right, tip number four, you can, in Raycast, in the settings, which I will show you all of, you can go to the advanced settings and you can change caps lock to what's called hyperkey. Okay, so if I choose to replace occurrences of Control, Option, Shift, Command with hyperkey, which I actually do through an app called Carabiner Elements, and there's a reason I do it that way. The main thing is that I have been able to set up Option Command on the right side of the keyboard to also send hyperkey. That's really important for me. You can't do that in Raycast, but it's a little more tricky to do it this way, and I'm running an extra app I don't absolutely have to run, but I use it often enough that I do that. For most people out there, I think you should definitely do this. You should send caps lock, where did it go? Right here, to hyperkey. Okay, you can also set it so that a quick press does nothing, or a quick press toggles cap lock, or triggers escape. You got some options here you want to look over. Okay, why would I do that? Why would I set up hyperkey? It's because how often do you use caps lock, and yet it's right there, easily accessible by your pinky finger. And now that I have mapped caps lock to hyperkey, I can make links to apps. The hyperkey symbol is this little star right here. And now if I hit hyperkey P, I'm going to launch Photoshop. Pretty awesome. If I hit hyperkey L, I'm launching Logos. If I hit hyperkey J, I'm launching Mail. If I hit hyperkey V, I'm launching Visual Studio Code. I've got a bunch of these. I also use hyperkey semicolon. This will be actually tip number 5 as my keyboard history, my clipboard history, not my keyboard history. I find this endlessly useful. If I have to copy several things that I'm going to use, a password and a username, then they're all right in there. Good. Okay, number 6, I can launch folders. If you look in Raycast and go to Quick Links, there are folders here such as Desktop, and I have not hyperkey K, but Control, Alt, or Option, Command K. Those keys are all right next to each other on the keyboard, so they're really easy to hit with 3 fingers. And I'm constantly going to the Desktop folder, so why not make a shortcut? Control, Option, Command, K takes me to the desktop. Okay. Control, Option, Command, semicolon takes me to the downloads. I don't exactly want to show you all the contents of those folders. I just haven't checked them to see what's in them. Maybe secret projects I'm working on. Control, Option, Command 4 takes me to my 4 terabyte drive, which is where I keep all of my video files as I'm working on them. So you can see this is what I'm working on. This is my system for naming the different projects that I'm working on. Gen 45, that means in the general category in YouTube, which I also have a keyboard shortcut for. Here are all my folders for YouTube. In the general category, that's the 45th one. Okay, here we go. Here are all my folders that I use to work on videos. Good. Okay, that is number 6. Number 7, I also use an extension that is paste plain text. And I have for many, many years. Where'd it go? Oh, I'm just search among all. If I have for many, many years used Shift Command V as a keyboard shortcut for pasting plain text, which is constantly valuable. And I used to have a separate app for this, for many years on Windows and then on Mac. Now I have it working within Raycast. I can even go markdown to plain text, though I don't have that mapped to a keyboard shortcut. That is number 7. This is a Raycast extension, paste as plain text. Easily found. If I go to my Raycast store, I can search all the extensions, and there is plain text, and it could not be easier to install something. This check mark tells me that it's already installed. There's lots of cool apps in the store, and they're adding them all the time because this is a super popular app. Okay, number 8, window management. This is going to be a little tougher to see, but I can move an app to the left half of my screen, or to the right half, or to the top half, or to the bottom half. You're only seeing a bit of this because I'm actually on a larger screen than you can see. Or I can set up a custom size, 1296 by 729, happens to be exactly the right width and height to match the 16 by 9 aspect ratio that I use in videos, and therefore I don't have to crop or resize. If I shoot at this size, I can export at 1080p or 4K. Window management is awesome. That is a pro feature. A couple other things I'll talk about here are pro features. Forgive me if I failed to mention that. But I have that mapped to keyboard shortcuts, and I've done that for many years. I had another app that I use called Size Up for doing this, and now I use Raycast. Number 9, Unicode symbols. While I was working on my own notes, I had to search for left arrow, right arrow, up arrow. I can search even for emojis. There we go. If I want to search emojis and symbols for smiley face, there's all the smiley faces. Super, super useful, okay? Now, Google Fonts extension is number 10. I have this because I do a lot of work in Google Fonts. I can search fonts, and I can find any of them. And if I find the one I use for my wife's website, oh no, that's an Adobe font. Never mind about that. I like Merriweather a lot. I can click it, and then on the Actions panel, I can actually just download the family right away. It's so handy. Very, very nice. Okay, I hope that's helpful. My kids are talking in the background. Cannot help that until I build an office in the garage. I am so hopeful that I get to build an office in the garage. It's currently with the planning folks at our city hall. Oh my goodness, I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting for this. First to know what to do, and then now waiting a little bit for them. They've been really great. I'm not complaining about them. Okay, I can hit Hyperkey S and pull up my schedule for the day. Really love this. And actually, if I have a meeting already scheduled, like on cal.com or something, then I can just hit enter and it'll actually open up the meeting. Now, I have a quick event extension. If I hit Hyperkey E, which again is caps lock E, I can say smooch wife tonight at 9 p.m., and it will stick it on my calendar. Hyperkey C shows my calendar, and that particular item probably will show up. It's already there. That's great. Okay, let's move on. I can define a word. So in Raycast, if I just pull up Raycast with Command Space, that's what I use. Then D, then space, then E, eleemosynary. And it doesn't even have to open up the dictionary app. It actually pulls it right in. That is from my dictionary app on my Mac, and that's my favorite contemporary dictionary, the New Oxford American Dictionary. Super, 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 super useful. Number 14, I have markdown converters. We'll talk more about Markdown in the future, but if I got a bunch of plain text from Markdown on my clipboard, I can use my Markdown converter to convert it to HTML and stick it on the clipboard. That's phenomenal. I like that. I can also change case. So let's imagine this happens pretty frequently. I have a title that I've copied, and it's the title of a blog post, but it's in all uppercase. Some blog post designs use that. So it's John Piper talks about commentaries, and I have that on my clipboard, let's say. If I change case and then I do lowercase, then, oh, come on. It pasted it right here. Okay, it just went for the most available text box. That was kind of weird. Didn't expect that. Now I've got that on my clipboard. What if I'll select that. I'll just use that. What if I now go to change case and then title case? That's what I find myself doing all the time. And sure enough, it does it. Okay, bonus tip. If I want to show something off on my screen, with large text, I can do that. Sometimes I do that real quick to show somebody a password or something from my screen. That was a bonus. Now, number 16, I have a bunch of snippets. I have snippets, for example, for bits of code for the CSS for the Divi hamburger menu color. It's an annoying thing that they don't give you an easy way to change that. You have to use CSS. I have snippets for design photos. Here's all the photos I need to make your website successful, is what I say to lots of pastors. I found I was doing that all the time, so I just stuck it as a snippet. In Raycast, I got a bunch of snippets. I won't show you anymore because I'm going to number 17. I do use the Pro tools, and I use Raycast AI. I asked it to sum up a series of, to add a series of numbers. I used it to convert points to inches. I used it to help me come up with a regular expression. I occasionally ask it to do some language stuff for me. I've been enjoying AI, and I'm not feeling too guilty about it. It's a good tool. URL shortener is number 18. So let's say that I have a URL on here, wordonwords.com, https://, and I pull up my bit.ly URL shortener extension. It tells me it's done, and now it's shortened to bit.ly/3e5czxx. Fantastic. Use that all the time for emails. Okay, next, compressing PNGs. I'm frequently exporting PNGs from Photoshop that I need to upload to the web, to a website, and they're like 2 megabytes, 3 megabytes. That's just too big. But if I compress them almost all the time, they look fantastic, and they're much, much smaller. I don't know how they do it, but they do it, and this is the tool that I use. Number 20, web page to Markdown. If I have a URL like this one, I can do that, and I type web page to Markdown and then enter the URL. It will actually convert all of that text to Markdown. I use that when I want to save an article, but I actually don't want to have, that's funny, they actually did it on the bit.ly page rather than on mark@wordonwords.com. But I want to show you that this really, really works. So I'm going to go to my sort of moribund blog and use this URL of my most recent post, do web page to Markdown, put the URL in there, bam, bam, bam. This takes a little longer than I would want it to. I'm not sure why it takes longer because I had something in Chrome that would do this and it died. And now I have Markdown on my clipboard and I can paste it right in. It's really handy because now I'm not saving images and I can stick all this right in Obsidian if I want to save this article. Okay, good. That was number 20. We're almost home. Number 21, quick links to websites. I've already set up a bunch of these. They are in my list of extensions and then quick links. Amazon affiliate program, Amazon orders, Amazon wishlist, my blog. I've actually used a lot of these for years. And I just started doing them in Raycast because actually right as I set up this course, both Logos and Chrome changed some pretty significant features that I've been using for years. I'm not entirely happy with it, but Raycast came in to save the day. I look at YouTube comments all the time. For some reason, they're not working right now, but this will take me to the right page. YTC, YouTube comments. Yeah, like I showed you, something went wrong. This is how I handle comments all the time. If I type YTA, you could look at YouTube Analytics. I'm not going to show you that. I do MLWB. That's my blog. If I go to Blam, Logos blog post by Mark Ward. I can't remember how I ended up using that shortcut, but I used to have to go to this all the time. Not so much anymore, but it's still in my muscle memory. That is number 21. Number 22, I have links to my to my Obsidian Kanban boards. I will not show you the one that I use for my design work because it has prices on it. But I will show you the one that I use for, and I'll resize it with Raycast. This is the one that I use for writing. I have my scripts, my articles and reviews, and my ready to film. And I mix my articles in with other things that I'm working on. I may or may not get to all of these. You know what? This is done. So I'm just going to archive this card. Where did it go? You know what? I'll archive the card. I've got some reviews and other stuff that I'm trying to come up with. And when I move them over into editorial, that's, they go from left to right, basically. That's how a Kanban board works. I really love my Kanban board. And what I found is that over the years, I've tried various to-do list systems. I successfully do use reminders and a calendar on my Mac, and I have done that for years. But I couldn't use reminders for a whole system. I just found I never did it. I actually do need paper. I hold up this little paper for you. This is my actual to-do list, and I have it sitting in a little tray right here on my desk that has other papers in it ready for me, other 3x5 cards ready for me to write on. I mark them out in black when I'm done with things. I also have as a little paperweight this awesome little doohickey here. One of the two things I bought from Huckberry. This is a little flathead screwdriver that I use all the time, and it's connected by a magnet, very satisfying magnet, to a Phillips head screwdriver and a what is it, like a pry bar / scraper / I'm never opening cans, but and there's actually, I can drive nuts, and then there is a knife on the back of it all that all connects to. I just need to have those tools on my desk, so they are on top of this little thing that is holding my to-do list. And that's the way I do most of my to-do list. But a portion of my to-do list, I realize I really want to have two portions. I really want to have in my Obsidian, because that's where I'm doing all the work. So I have my writing Kanban board, and I guess I can show you my courses Kanban board because I'm working on BIBLETECH401. I am planning a Logos course and a hermeneutics course, and every one of these links directly to the article that I am writing there, and that's really handy. And you can see now the list that we're on. Okay, so we are on number 22. No, have we done that? Yeah, we did that. Actually, it's not HyperKey 1, it's K1. Quick links to Logos locations. Let's do that now. If I just hit HyperKey 6, this is taking me right to the translators to the reader in the New Cambridge Paragraph Bible. I found I was referencing this document so often, and I wanted to get to it very quickly. Why do you think I was referencing this document so often? It's because, you know what, I'm out of this debate, on my channel, so I'm not going to tell you why, but I used to reference this all the time, and I went ahead and kept it. You can reference any Logos location and attach it to any keyboard shortcut here. Let me see if I can find that one. That one is New Cambridge. It's probably KJV translators to the reader. Yeah, NCPB translators to the reader, and I have it mapped to HyperKey 6. And then here's my Refly link that takes me right there. You can grab that still with this little button. No. Oh, come on. Is it Alt-Command-C? Yes, I think that it is. Yeah, you can also use a keyboard shortcut to get that location wherever you are in Logos. Is that helpful? That's helpful. I can message my wife. I'm not going to show you that, but that's HyperKey H. And then I can do a speed test. I can test my internet speed. You want to know what my internet speed is? I use Comcast Xfinity. It's the best option in my neighborhood that I found. It is nice and fast, and I'm very, very grateful for it. Looks like my megabits per second are down a little bit from what they usually are at, but I don't mind because they're still plenty fast. My ping is good. My server is good. Now I'm going to end with a request for help, because there's one thing that I've not been able to figure out how to do in Raycast, and that is to get it to work with Obsidian. So like it does work with Obsidian. I can of course open Obsidian, but I'm supposed to be able to search my notes, open my vaults, create notes, etc. with the Obsidian extension, and I simply cannot get it to connect to my Obsidian library, and I cannot figure out why it's difficult, because I'm confident I'm giving it the right address of that Obsidian library. If anybody knows how to do that, I would be massively obliged to you, and I will try to remember to thank you on the channel. That was my top 25 Raycast tools, things I do in Raycast. Some of them are directly relevant to digital Bible study. Most of them are not, but whipping around quickly on my Mac is what enables me to get done as much as I do get done. Some people sometimes tell me, I can't believe how much you get done. I really don't know why they say that, because I feel like I basically teach a slightly more elaborate Sunday school lesson every week. And I don't think that's all that remarkable, but whatever I can get done, I get it done because I have digital tools. I am a digital native, and I got to whip around quickly or I get very frustrated. Hopefully this helps you and stokes your interest in Raycast. Oh, you know what? I should show you. I do have a referral code for Raycast, and that would, I think, help you and also help me. That's the way it usually works. Let me use Raycast, ironically enough. I will use Raycast to show off large text. There we go. That's my link, raycast.com/?via=Mark-Ward. If you'll use that to get Raycast and any of the pro subscriptions, I think it helps me. And forgive me, I can't remember if it helps you or not. Again, that's just the way it usually works. I don't really keep careful track of all these referral codes, but I use them when I can. Thank you very much. Okay, this is me breaking in after all that. Immediately after I finished this video, the very first thing that I did was search for files in Raycast, and I realized I did not include that among the 25. So I'm just going to show you really fast. I just hit Option Space, and I can search for anything. That's just super, super handy. I'm doing it all the time.